Hey guys, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 for the PlayStation 3. In the last episode, we collected Shadow's silver medals, which means that they're finally done. Well, okay, there's technically still 10 left, but they're not until the final story, so it is now time for loading screens. Well, actually, no, there isn't, because I've edited out most of those. But that is the main issue that comes from the various town missions that you have in this game. So, I'm guessing they wanted to expand on the mission thing introduced in Sonic Adventure DX. Except, unlike that game, these town missions are exclusive to the hub worlds. Each character has a set of town missions. Some of them are mandatory. We've already seen them in story mode. I won't be showing those up again. I'm just doing the optional ones. Now, town missions, you can tell if a character has a town mission by the fact that they'll have a blue box on the tops of their heads. And I don't know what happened here. I bounced on him. Like, I even damaged him. What happened there? If the box on the top of the character's head is yellow, that means that you can talk to them and it doesn't mean anything. If it's orange, they have something a bit more plot important, but you never actually have to talk to them. With the exception of maybe 1 or 2 times. If it's blue, that means they have a town mission to do. And a lot of these do get pretty repetitive. The one you've just seen there, that I haven't been explaining at all, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. That's the first one that you can unlock. The only one we've been doing before that was the one where you had to go through all the rings to get the Lightspeed Dash. That was mandatory. That one was optional. That's the first one you can do. At the time, that would be the only one you can do, because you unlock that mission after completing Wave Ocean. The town missions don't disappear until you complete them. So you can return to the episode even after finishing it, where you then have access to all 3 hub worlds, and you can play any of the missions in any order. They do unlock in a specific order, and it doesn't really fit the number of the town mission that shows up when you go to the mission select screen. You can do it for town missions as well, and they don't necessarily follow the numbers. Not just a matter of what order you do them in, but even the time of their unlocking. There's going to be one we'll see later on, where you need to complete Silver's story in order to gain access to one of the town missions. But it's according to the town select, there's like another, I don't know, there must be another 5 missions under it, despite the fact that you have to complete Silver's story to play it. And I didn't realise I actually had to talk to this guy first, so I only just about made this S rank. But that was the Find Pele, the Beloved Dog mission. And the thing about that mission is that the kid already knows where the dog is, but you know, he's a lazy ass, so he has to stand there while Sonic goes after the dog. The realistic dog, you know, I'm pretty sure that dogs are related to foxes. So we have a mutant fox that's coloured yellow, can talk, is bipedal and has 2 tails that allow him to fly, but we have a real-life dog. And that is the big issue I have with this game's art style. And what the hell? But Duffman got a new career. Actually, this is Sonicman. And, well, somehow he thinks he's the real Sonic. I don't get that. All he's got to do is look at his shirt, which I do like it. It's the title screen logo from Sonic 1. And I hate that running animation so much. This guy is a total joke. I mean, to prove it, we have to race him again with Silver, and he's a joke there. That is how slow Sonic Man really is. So if you want to make life even easier for you, use the blue gem or the red gem. But it's an incredibly easy mission. It does barricade some of the ways you can go. It's a pretty linear direction. So you don't need to worry about trying to find your way around the hub world. Not that finding your way around New City is that hard. Yeah. And this is one of the few missions where you actually talk to someone, and then they take you to a different part of the hub world. Or a different hub world, I should say. Because we spoke to him in Castle Town, but the actual race takes place in New City. And now we're going to go back to Castle Town. The missions don't really do much in terms of practicing anything. You know, you're not practicing a particular ability with the exception of a couple of occasions. And if you are, it's usually practicing the homing attack, or psychokinesis in Silver's case. You don't really practice anything. Like just now, we were walking a dog, and that's all you have to do. I don't know if there's a certain distance that you can go before the dog decides to stop following Sonic, because I can go pretty far away from Pele, and he still followed me. And that's all we were doing. We were just walking a dog. All we were doing then was just running around. And a good chunk of the missions, all we're doing is just destroying enemies, and that's it. They're very repetitive, especially going through rings. But what we have now, I could have gotten this before facing Sonicman. I only had to do one town mission. No, I think I had to do 2 town missions. But for 12,000 rings, we were able to buy the final gem at last. This is the yellow gem. And what this does, this creates an electric shield, which isn't anything like the electric shield from the previous games. In Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it allowed Sonic to use a double jump. Only Sonic, you couldn't do a Tails and Knuckles, but Sonic could do a double jump. They took that away in Sonic Adventure, so all it could do was just draw in rings, which you could do in Sonic 3 and Knuckles as well. Any rings that you get close to, it will be drawn in towards Sonic. It could do that in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the Adventure game, Shadow the Hedgehog. And that works here as well, with the exception of a few occasions, and it is deleted for some of the town missions we're about to see. And the unique thing about the yellow gem is the Thunder Shield is what it's called, or something like that. Thunder Guard, I think it's referred to in this game. You can actually use it along with the other gems, which really makes me wonder why it wasn't a power-up, because according to the manual, there was supposed to be a barrier or shield, whatever you want to call it, power-up in the game. It's in the instruction manual, but it never appears. It's deep into the game's files. If you hack your way there, you can find it. The shield itself won't actually do anything. It will appear, but it won't do anything itself if you do put it into the gameplay. And I have no idea why they decided not to include it, but for some reason it's in the manual. Again, the manual is more complete than the game is. And here we have the most repetitive of all the town missions, minus maybe defeat the enemies, going through rings, and I ended up missing this. Now explain this to me. This game's marvellous collision detection. I try to use the sky gem, I miss, get stuck on the ceiling, and clip right through it. I don't know how that happened. And this is where I was trying to use the red gem and I pressed the button prematurely. I didn't mean to use that, the green tornado there. But yeah, you can use the yellow gem with all the other gems. The only problem I have when using it with the purple gem is that because the camera pans in closer to Sonic because he's smaller, the shield takes up a good chunk of your screen, so your screen is going to be flashing white with a yellow background for a good chunk of the time, especially when the camera really zooms in on Sonic, and that's really the only issue I have with it. It looks pretty when you use the white gem though. But the main problem with the yellow gem is, besides drawing in rings, it's useless. You don't get a double jump for it, and despite what the information in the shop tells you, it doesn't protect you from enemies. Not in the slightest. In fact, if the shield comes into contact with an enemy, but Sonic doesn't, the shield will disappear. And sometimes the shield doesn't even properly surround Sonic. Like there have been times where I've ended up with the shield barely visible because it's clipping through the ground all the time, and all it's surrounding is Sonic's feet. It still works just as fine, by its standards, but for some reason all it does is just cover Sonic's feet. And sometimes it might end up being a bit too high up, where it's covering everything but Sonic's feet. And that can be kind of distracting. I generally would like to get rid of it, but at the same time I don't want to get hurt. I just have to rely on losing it accidentally without actually getting Sonic hurt, because you can do that. You know, the way it's supposed to work. But anyway, now we have to find the boys of Soleanna, although I'm pretty sure this one right here is a girl, despite what the name of the mission. And they are in set locations, but knowing what those set locations are is the issue. You can pretty much, there is like a circuit. You're sort of going a circuit of Soleanna, with the exception of that part right there where we did have to cut the corner a bit, and this one. And yeah, granted, it could depend on what order you decide to go after them in, but it's pretty much a circuit of the hub world. You have to do this mission again with Silver, and they're in different locations, and that one really is a circuit of the hub world. This one requires you to go out of your way a little bit, but not too much. And for some reason, they all sound like dogs when you tag them, for some reason. I don't know, even if you call it a dog, a very small dog. More like a hamster, really. It's just a little squeak they do. Well, the kid's called Poochie, so that might be a sign of something. You know, this truly is the Sonic the Hedgehog and Poochie show.
That was incredible!
Starring children that sound like dogs for some reason, and real-life dogs. Despite the fact we have mutant animals here. And that's the main issue I have with this game's art style, and... oh boy.
Hey.
This is where the editing went to hell. I couldn't edit out these loading screens. As much as I wanted to, the video kept corrupting. So, prepare yourself. Where is it? Sorry. Ho ho ho! Prepare yourself! I don't even remember if that was this game. But no. I am not editing a single one of these out, folks. Every single one of these loading screens is here. Thankfully, they don't last too long by this game standards. Most of them last for 10 seconds at the most. There are a few that do last a bit longer. The further into the mission you go, the shorter they seem to become. So, the guy we're talking to is Aristo, which, as you could probably guess, he's named after Aristotle. I don't get how that works. I mean, he's supposed to be a mathematical genius, but that would imply that he was a genius at maths pretty much when he was still a fetus, because apparently they named him after Aristotle the day he was born, which I don't get. And what you're going to do here is going to create a bunch of crates will appear, and you just got to guess how many there are when the next set of numbered crates appear. Now the issue is that the camera, I'm not sure if it's fixed or not, I think it is, so you can't really see all the crates. So there it looked like there were 3 crates. You just gotta remember that one of those crates is obviously stacked on top of another, so you know that there's 4 there. And it isn't random, it is a set number of crates each time. See, that obscures at least 2 crates there. See, you are somewhat guessing, and these are the town missions I really hate, because you're really only getting about 10 seconds worth of actual playing the mission, and the rest of it is just loading screen after loading screen after loading screen. This is as worse as it gets with Sonic. Shadow has about 3 missions to do this, and I hate it. And they're the more challenging ones, actually. And I haven't recorded those ones yet, so that's the issue. But thankfully, they are in a set order. So in this mission, it's 4, 7, and then all of the last ones are 9. It's pretty obvious when you just look at the number of crates that are there, and the highest one that ever appears is 9. So it's 4, 7, 9, 9, 9. And it will always be that number. You just have to put up with all of these loading screens. And the guy will sort of congratulate you at first, but then he actually becomes very depressed. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. I thought this was just a game. A game where we're breaking crates. How are you making these crates appear? Where's he getting all of these? Who's stacking these crates? Granted, I'm pretty sure these crates are filled with helium, but where are all of these crates coming from?
Hey.
Yes. No, I'm not good, you just suck. Because, you know, for some reason your parents decided to name you after Aristotle when they didn't even know you were going to be a genius. Because clearly you are... You might be a muscle man, I'm not sure. Because these crates are obviously coming from somewhere. But who the hell names their kid after Aristotle when he's born? Like, you just assume that he's going to be a mathematical genius. It's like the sort of parents that tell you what you're going to do when you grow up. It's like, you will be a genius at maths. You will have a maths PhD. Whether you like it or not. So we are going to name you after Aristotle. Also, almost every time you talk to him, he says, hey. I don't think he does it there. But as he starts to get a bit more annoyed, he won't say it. I really do wish that these other civilians actually had a bit more dialogue. Like, a lot of the time, all they do is just say, hey, if it's a man, or they might might make a few other noises, make some other noises if it's a woman, and some of them just sound weird. Like, sometimes, and this applies to both men and women, they sort of make like a weird sort of sound, and I have no idea what's going on there. The worst one I think is one that some of the women will say, and they sort of go like, "Da?" So yeah, I'm sorry, are you Russian? Saying yes in Russian, it's just like a "da," and it looks weird with some of the positions they get into. Like at the beginning of Sonic's story, a woman will point to you in the direction of the Mirror's Wave Ocean, and she says "da," whilst just pointing. And I don't even think she's pointing with her finger. She's just got her arm out, pointing in the direction of, well, roughly the direction where you go, but depending on Sonic's position, it may or may not look like she's pointing anywhere. It might just look like she's pointing at a building. It all depends on the camera angle. Yeah, there you go. Shouldn't get anything else but an S rank in that mission. And also remember, I edited out that one. But remember though, if you end up getting that very last question wrong, which I'm only ever going to do on purpose, for why you would do that is beyond me. But if you get that last question wrong, you have to sit through a loading screen for him to tell you got it wrong. A loading screen that takes you back to the regular hub world. Then you have to talk to him again. And then you have to go through all of those loading screens because you have to start all the way from the beginning. And that is incredibly annoying. But this, I believe, is the final town mission that you unlock for Sonic in the game actually, because you'll be heading to Aquatic Base at this point. So this time we have to collect 100 rings. And they are scattered around the rooftops of Soleanna. There's 99 in all. He's hiding the last one. The text box tells us that he's hiding the last one in his pocket to make it impossible for Sonic to win. Thing is, they go and tell the player that, and I can never work out if that means that Sonic has heard it or not, because it's like, otherwise how the hell does Sonic know to make it fall out of the guy's pocket? So how would Sonic know if the guy didn't just say it out loud? Because the text box does have like some brackets around it to indicate that it's just the player reading his thoughts. But then how does Sonic know that? Or is Sonic telepathic or something? And if they're going to do that, why bother? If they're just going to outright tell us where he's hiding the final one, the final ring, well, why even bother hiding it in the first place? It's just pointless. And there's three main things you got to remember about this mission. Firstly, the Lightspeed Dash is disabled. Secondly, the yellow gem won't do anything. So I was pretty sure that it wouldn't. I just wanted to try it out just to be sure. But yeah, the yellow gem won't draw in any rings, so that's disabled as well. I mean, you can still use it, but it won't do you any good. And these things are just here solely for the sake of giving you points. Again, you can use the red gem to give you even more time, even though it gives you plenty of time. Your biggest issue here is the camera, because every single time there's a slight change in the terrain's position, Sonic will change his position, and because he always has to be right in the center of the camera is going to keep switching left and right, and that really becomes an eyesore when you're playing. It really hurts your eyes. And for the once you've collected all of the rings, that blue electrical crate will appear. Destroy that, and it'll make the ring fall out of the guy's pocket. Pick that one up, get an extra life because you got 100 rings, and mission successful. Now, I learnt this the hard way. Don't talk to him. I don't know why I'm pointing because you can't see that, but don't talk to him when you haven't collected all the rings, because it will assume that you're giving in, and it will end the mission. So you have to start again. So don't do that.
Hey.
And I learned that the hard way. But it is now time for the new city town missions. I think there's roughly the same amount. There's only one for Sonic in the forest, but New City has quite a few. Although this one, when it appears, the Legend of the Three Musketeers, this one actually takes place in all three hub worlds. I think it's the only mission in the game that does that as well. It's also the only mission in the game that makes use of your Amigo characters, besides the mandatory one that we had to do with Amy in Silver's story. It's the only one that makes use of your Amigo characters, and the only one that makes use of all three Amigo characters, if you are going to count Amy's one. And, well, yeah, the Three Musketeers, so we're pretty much, it's Team Sonic. You know, only we're playing as them separately, kind of like in Adventure 2 as opposed to Heroes. And look, it's Superman 64. Like, how many times do we have to just go through these rings? And trust me, we're going to be doing them multiple times in Shadow and Silver stories as well. Were the developers just fans of Superman 64? I haven't played it. I don't want to play it. But I am well aware of the infamy, I think that's the word, the notoriety, I'll say that, of Superman 64 for the amount of times you have to go through the rings. And granted, it's certainly nowhere near a strict time limit, and the controls aren't as precise. But do we really want to just be reminded of Superman 64 all the time? Well, we're now in control of Knuckles, complete with, I don't know, Dan Green's delivery of the line, "I can't wait to get going." For a start, it seems very out of place. There's like no effort was put into the line whatsoever. It's like, I can't be bothered. It's like he knows how bad this is, because not only do we have to put up with Knuckles' horrible combat, it's a lot of things. Firstly, well, the combat feels very delayed, and a lot of the times, I swear, you're only going to be pressing like one button and Knuckles will do 2 attacks. So if you press the button twice, he may end up doing that third final combo, that one, even when you don't want him to. But the main issue I have with this, and I got pretty close to running out of time, and it's because a lot of the time I was punching the rocks and nothing was happening. Now, I could hear Knuckles doing his punches, and sometimes he would just slide around the rock instead of actually breaking it. But a lot of the time he just didn't do anything, and I just got so tired of continually hearing Knuckles' punching sounds, or the grunts he makes, because I just had to keep doing it again and again until Knuckles would eventually break the rocks, which have the exact same interior graphics as the exterior graphics. There's no darker or any difference like that. They clearly don't crumble or anything. They just break into 3 smaller pieces. And the final part is for Sonic. Now we're in Castle Town, and we simply need to... Well, actually, what you can do is you can just head straight for the goal ring, which is by the Soleanna Forest door. We could head straight there, but what they wanted you to do was locate Tails and Knuckles. So Tails is located by the door to New City. Knuckles is located next to the fountain where we got the new Scepter of Darkness in Shadow Story. But you don't have to do this. You can go straight to the goal ring, and you should, although you don't have as many rings and you didn't go through the Ring of Rings, you should still have enough points from the time bonus to get the S rank. And I think that's the only time where you actually properly see the ring disappear. It makes the sound effects and everything. The sound effects and the ring disappearing. What we will see in Sonic Unleashed, and as well as Colors and I think Generations. I can't remember if the ring actually has a sound effects in that one. But they don't do that for the other times that we have to complete a mission or complete a stage. I think occasionally we may see the ring partially disappear, or sometimes we hear the sound effects, but the ring doesn't disappear, or sometimes neither. The ring will still be there, and there won't be a sound effect. It's just a pause, and then we go to the results screen. But no, the ring actually does disappear in that one. Alright, this mission. This one has quite a strict S rank sign, so I'm using the red gem to make it a joke. The only issue now being is that now the car goes a bit too slowly for Sonic. And I don't know what happened there, because where is the edge? There is clearly a wall there. So I don't know how Sonic was doing that. But yeah. If anything, the car was going a bit too slowly. But it makes getting that S rank a lot easier, because some of the times can be quite strict for these S ranks. Most of them are really easy. But occasionally they can be quite strict. And you have to make specific criteria. Like if it's a mission where you got to defeat a load of enemies, there will often be groups of enemies where you need to take out the leader, and that will destroy the rest and you get bonus points. There's quite a few missions where you have to do that. Like the boss fights, most of the S ranks are 30,000 as opposed to 50,000 in the main stages. I think there are 2 exceptions, possibly 3. The final mission we're going to be doing for Sonic, that one's 40,000. One of Shadows is 50,000. So that there are about 2 or 3 exceptions. You know, stuff like this. You know, if there's multiple enemies around, then there may be a leader, there may not be. Sometimes a particular kind of enemy will always be a leader. In the case of Eggman's robots, if you see the small rhino things that kind of look like the train enemies from Heroes, if you see a golden one, destroy that one. If you see those weird spherical enemies that like have shields in their hands, if there's a red one around, attack that one. If there's an invisible enemy like these guys here, any one of these will destroy all of the surrounding enemies, and you can get bonus points for that. And just make sure you try and pick up as many rings as you can. Explosive crates can also destroy a lot of enemies, assuming that they are either one hit kills, or you've drained their health down to make sure that it will go down in just one explosion. If the enemies are close enough, you can destroy all of them, like that. We weren't able to destroy Zeg Lancers, well, they were a bit too far away anyway. So we weren't able to destroy them anyway. And sometimes it's just a collision detection being an issue. Like, the amount of times that those guys I've gotten hurt from those guys, even though they're dead, their arms, sometimes they fall to the ground, sometimes they shoot up into the air. And when that happens, they will explode after a few seconds, and that will hurt me. And I hate it when that happens. It's so annoying. It's like when the big Iblis golems and titans, when they're carrying that giant explosive sphere, you can kill them, and then the sphere will begin to fall down. And even though it doesn't touch you, its hitbox is bigger than the actual sphere itself, and that will cause you to take damage. An unfair hit, saying you will wait for him to throw this and expose his core. Bullet rings! I haven't seen this before. This is what now? This must be like the 4th mission. From the one at the beginning of the game, we did one in Castletown. We did the one with Tails. So this is like the 4th time we're doing this, and this is just Sonic's story. Shadow and Silver have at least 2 of these each, I believe. And the only one I ever find to be somewhat interesting because it's a bit different is one of Shadow's, because we actually get to use one of his vehicles for it. So we actually get to drive around in the buggy with it. And I may not like the buggy's controls, but you know, at least it's something a bit different. So also sometimes it's like it's a challenge that some of the people of Soleanna do, which would imply that they are perfectly capable of doing some of the things that Sonic, Shadow, and Silver can do. Like these useless policemen, or whatever you call them, these security guards that all look exactly the same, and are all in green and don't know any other word except for hey. Then, you know, for somehow they have the ability to hover in the air, much like Silver is apparently one of the missions we're going to do, where Silver has to go through a load of orange rings. He has to fly through the air and everything, and yet it's apparently a training mission that these guards do. So I don't know what was going on there, and this is where I couldn't quite remember the locations of all of these missions. And now we have, I think there are 2 missions left in this video. 2 missions left for Sonic, and these can be some of his longest ones. Hotel's Festival of Rings. Don't let that alarm you. There are no orange rings. Instead, we simply need to collect rings, which you can pick up after they fall out of some of these crates. Now, the idea, I think you have to destroy both crates in order to get the next set to appear. So you got to destroy because there are times where if I destroy the lower one with the number on it, the next set of crates wouldn't appear until I destroyed the one that was on top. But there are also times where I've destroyed the one on top and left the numbered one below, and the next crate didn't appear either. So I'm assuming you have to destroy both crates. And if you pick up enough rings, which I don't quite do, but it is very possible to get the S rank or ring bonus alone. Because I don't think you're really going to get that big of a time bonus, even with the red gem. And unfortunately, the red gem can cause some delay in terms of the pop-up for some of these crates, which itself is already a bit delayed. Because, you know, this game is marvellous with that sort of thing. And there is the Havoc physics engine, causing me all sorts of issues, such as the crates. If you destroy the underneath one, the numbered one, instead of the one on top, sometimes that other one will then just go flying into the air and take him forever to land, where it will not break upon impact. And then once the crate's broken, you now have like you know, I don't know, 50 bits of wood that keep pushing the rings out of the way or causing Sonic to go all over the place. Sometimes you do need, like here, you need to collect every single one of these rings in order to get the next set to appear. And that applies to the ring boxes as well. When it comes to the rings inside the crates, I don't know if there's a specific amount that you have to pick up in order to pass the mission. I'm not sure. Because I don't collect every single ring that falls out of these crates, so I don't know if there's a limit, or if it's just collect the rings to destroy the crates and collect the other rings in order to actually make the last few ring boxes appear so that we can finish the mission. This mission just drags more than anything. Again, it can be useful. You can get probably a good 3 lives here if you pick up enough of the rings, which I don't quite do. I get pretty close, but I don't quite collect enough in order to get 300. Again, the S rank for this mission is 30,000, which means that you could potentially get the S rank off just your ring bonus if you pick up enough of them. Because look, I'm already at 240, and it's just giving me more and more and more. And the rings do remain there for quite a long time, so you have plenty of time to pick them up. Yeah, 292. That is so close to the S rank on just my rings. Let alone the fact that I also get points for collecting the rings. Each ring will give me 10 points, I believe. And in my other score, as well as the fact that breaking each crate will also give me points. Combine that with the time bonus. So, you know, it's really easy. And for the final mission, this one you can go to before when you're doing the Trials of Soleanna. It will be available there, but it is kind of out of your way. Because you have to make your way through the enormous hub world, so I hope you have a blue gem with you, towards the shop that's hidden behind one of these trees, and then you can talk to the lady in waiting, you know, this girl who has a really creepy face. Not as creepy as that guard in the cutscene when the egg carrier flies over, and the guy with no tongue. And I was a bit confused on this mission, because I think what happens is she does have a set pathway that she runs to, but whenever enemies appear, she sort of just runs in circles. So I just made my way further through the mission, further through the hub world, defeating any enemy in my path. And I know I was using the red gem, so that is slowing down her movements. But I just couldn't find where she went. She doesn't slow down that much. And then when I went back, some more enemies appeared, and it's like her AI knew the enemies were there, even though they hadn't technically shown up yet. Because they don't appear until Sonic is close enough to them. So they won't appear until they were roughly where that big rock was. And it's like, her AI knows that they're there. I don't know what hit me there. But her AI knows the enemies are there, even though they haven't actually shown up. So this mission did take me quite a while, because after that it then becomes a waiting game, because she only moves so fast. And you then have all of these other enemies here. What did that destroy? That clearly destroyed a group of enemies, but I have no idea what. Because I got bonus points for some reason. I just don't know what I got bonus points for. The woman does have a health bar, but it's really not an issue. There's not quite enough enemies to get the full 40,000 point time enemy score, but you can get very close to just getting the S rank of enemy score. It's not going to be quite enough, but it'll be really close. So this is, I think, the only time in the entire game where the S rank is 40,000, as opposed to standard 30 or 50. The only other times I can think of where the score doesn't require that is some of the DLC, because boss attack I think is 150. Because I got 140,000 something in a practice run for Sonic's boss attack. First time I ever finished it was like 140,000-ish. Surely that must be an S rank. I spent forever here. And then I got an A rank, so I'm assuming it's 150,000. And then for very hard mode it's 100,000. So it's a bit different for the DLC, but other than that, it's generally 30 for town missions and boss fights, 50,000 for the regular stages, 40,000 for this mission, 50,000 for one of Shadow's. I think there may have been one other mission, but I don't even remember which one that is. See, there's no gold robot here, so I have to destroy each one of these individually, or I can use the green gem. Makes life a bit easier. So they bring their shields up like that. Because for some reason, even attacking them from the side, yes, that's where their shields are, but why can't I attack them from above, or behind, or in front, where they have no shields? I never understood the logic when it comes to that. It's like in Sonic Heroes, if an egg pawn has a shield, the shield is always in front of them, so why is it that when I'm attacking them from behind, all I'm doing is damaging the shield, and not actually destroying the egg pawn itself? And that was sudden. Well, granted, I have the red gem. No, I can't be using it. I don't think I'm using the red gem here because all it's doing is slowing her down. What good is that going to be to me? Yeah, a lot of packs of enemies. Again, look, I'm attacking this guy's head. How is he not taking damage? And I don't think that's just a result of this game's rush development, because a load of Sonic games do that. The egg pawns do it with their shields in Sonic Heroes, as do some of the Eggman's robots, the gun robots, the Black Arms in Shadow the Hedgehog, the Nightmares in Sonic Unleashed. You know, they can sometimes block with their arms, and even if you attack them from behind, they still won't be taking any damage. I think the only time that logic hasn't applied is in something like the day stage of Sonic Unleashed, actually. Well, both stages, because the day and night, because if you attack an egg fighter that's got a shield from behind, it'll just take regular damage. You're not destroying the shield first or anything like that, and it's like the only time that happens. Because the shields never really do anything in colors or on generations, so there's really no purpose to having them there. I don't think any of the egg pawns actually have shields in Sonic Lost World. So I don't get that. What is the cause of that? By the way, thought this woman was creepy enough or pretty useless due to the fact that she doesn't know where she's going. Well, now I find out. In a second. There's loads of them! There's like 5 of them. There's 5 of them there. And is she one of them? Or is she like number 6?
That was incredible!
Why does everybody in this game look the same? If it's something on a PS1 or an N64, then I would have no issue with the fact that everybody might look similar, because, you know, they're weaker systems. But for something that's on the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3, sometimes it's just the faces that are the same. Other times it's their entire appearance, and that's so stupid. But anyway, that is all of Sonic's town missions. This video is almost 40 minutes long. So, the next time, we're going to be doing the rest. Well, yeah, the rest. We've done some of the mandatory ones. But we're going to be doing Silver's mission. So, see you guys then.